Hello, our POAP is working now, so we can start. Uh, Here we have our meetup with Arbitrum, and I have a few announcements about it Warsaw and Collective 3. So first of all, welcome to our Collective 3 community hub. And if you want to work with us in this beautiful office, you can talk to me after the meetup, and I will tell you all about it, how to rent the desks, and what we are organizing here, and what are the plans for the community members. Also, if you are a builder going to DevConnect, there is a startup World Cup by Crescimento, and you can apply with our It Warsaw code, and you will get a fast track to the demo day during DevConnect. And supposedly Vitalik is going to be there to listen to your pitches. So if you have a startup and if you are going to DevConnect, talk to me after the meetup, and I will give you the code and all the links. And our beautiful POAP from October. It's not from the meetup, it's for visiting our community hub. So if you have the application called POAP Home, you can scan location and you will get a POAP. It's running on Arbitrum, so you can already use the network we are talking about today. And the last one thing, we have our merch press. So after the meetup, if you want to print your bag, you can do it over there. I will tell you all about it. So general, I didn't put any links, sorry. So if you are interested in any of this, talk to me after the meetup, and I will explain in details. And yes, now we start our proper part. So today we have one presentation from Krzysztof Urbanski, who will talk more about Arbitrum DAO and opportunities for builders on Arbitrum. And then we have two shorter presentations from our hackers who were hacking on Arbitrum during our hackathon. And they will tell you their stories.
Who am I? My name is Chris, and I'm working for a project called L2Beat. If you don't know L2Beat, we are this platform that assesses security guarantees for Ethereum-based L2s. So basically, what we can tell you is if you are putting your money on some L2, how safe it is, more or less, or rather, how risky it is. And in L2Beat, I'm responsible for two things. One is governance, and second is partnerships. But for the sake of this presentation, the more important is the governance part. Why governance in L2Beat? We do not have a DAO, we are not a DAO, but as self-proclaimed Ethereum ecosystem stewards, we are big delegates usually in most L2 DAOs. So when those DAOs were formed, we are pretty well known in the ecosystem. So usually people who are delegating, a lot of them chose us to delegate to us. Therefore, we are big delegates in Optimism, Arbitrum, zkSync, Polygon, Scroll, Tyco even, Uniswap, Lisk, what else? Some else. I don't remember every DAO that we are active in. And I'm the delegate. So if you are curious, like who is the DAO delegate, it's me. And we are trying to push for Ethereum ecosystem agenda in this DAOs and make sure that they are and they remain Ethereum aligned, and they are pushing forward the ecosystem. So today I want to talk to you about Arbitrum, and we were present in Arbitrum even before the DAO, before the TGE, as we were already assessing them, we were checking their security guarantees, we were working with them on making sure that those security guarantees are in place, and especially working on the fraud-proof system, because when they launched, especially when they had the TGE, like fraud-proof systems were not not working yet, really. Like they were probably the first ones with actually working fraud-proof system. Optimism was technically first, but they then turned off their fraud-proof system and didn't turn it on for a couple of years, which causes us troubles to this day. If anybody of you saw the Polygon drama yesterday on Twitter, then the root cause of this is this fact that we left optimism on our dashboard even after they turned off the fraud proofs. However, talking about Arbitrum, 2.5 years ago, around April 2023, they launched a token. When they launched the token, they started a DAO because they did something interesting. They put the control of whole system, all the smart contracts, and the treasury in the hands of delegates and token holders. So the DAO directly on-chain controls both the treasury and all the systems that are part of Arbitrum, including the bridge, which was a very brave and risky move back then. It's still like they are still on the frontier of this. I don't know if there is any other big DAO, L2 DAO at least, that follows suit. Probably Zk Sync. However, they were the first. And they gave all the power to the token holders, and then they asked to ratify the establishment of the DAO by ratifying the constitution and some basic rules in the vote that was called AIP1 from Arbitrum Improvement Proposal number 1. And the DAO rejected this vote. So after a huge drama that was unleashed on Twitter, the DAO rejected this initial vote. Why? Because the root cause of this consent was that before the TGE, a large portion of the DAO treasury that was mentioned as the DAO treasury in the documentation was sent to Arbitrum Foundation for their discretionary use. It was 750 million ARB tokens, and the community didn't like it. The community was like, if you really want to for the DAO to allocate those funds, you should ask first. After some time and a lot of discussions and a lot of nerves, we came up to some agreement. So the funds were moved to Arbitrum Foundation, but they were put in a vesting contract. So they are still being vested for another 1.5 years. And the DAO basically showed who's in charge. And then the DAO, because of that, Arbitrum Foundation took the approach that, okay, if the DAO is like that, maybe we should not mess with them. We barely made it to have the treasury, so let's not argue with those guys. And they took a backseat position. Also, you have to remember back then what the regulatory sentiment was and how powers that be, especially in the US, were looking into people who were in charge of crypto projects. So they were trying to dissociate themselves as much as possible from actually running things in Arbitrum, and this was left to the DAO to manage. So we as delegates, we were making all the decisions, and we still are making all the decisions in terms of upgrading the system. Every Arbitrum upgrade had to be confirmed by the DAO. All the spendings, the DAO decides on every treasury spending. Of course, this money that is allocated to the Arbitrum Foundation is already gone, and they are able to use it at their discretion. But any additional spending from the DAO needs to be confirmed and approved by the DAO. And nobody told us how to do that. Basically, they just distributed the tokens. They established this DAO. Then after this whole drama, they were like, okay, now you deal with that. You will manage how to self-organize, and you will run this whole ecosystem. And we did. Of course, it wasn't easy. It wasn't smooth. but the DAO did learn how to push it forward, how to self-manage. And one of the goals for the DAO is to support builders, support the ecosystem, to make sure that there is growth in Arbitrum ecosystem. And you might have heard about some initiatives that we pushed forward. All that I will mention were contentious. That's why I say that you might have heard about it, because there was, for each of them, there was some kind of a drama on Twitter. First big initiative that the DAO funded was a grant program. It was called Pluralistic Grant Program, something like that, by Plurality Labs. And Disruption Joe, you might have heard about Disruption Joe from Twitter, and he was running this program. And this program was supposed to, and like the goal of this program was to support initiatives in the DAO and support builders. It had some successes, although the amount of successes is kind of controversial. However, one initiative that was a byproduct of this program was the DAO RWA investment program, which is called STEP. I don't remember right now what the acronym stands for, but it's Sustainable Treasury something something. But the goal was basically for the DAO to buy T-bills, American T-bills. Why? To diversify the treasury. Because in the beginning, the only thing that the DAO had was ARB tokens, and we've seen some DAOs in the past, and we've seen some TGEs in the past, and we knew that if we just leave it like that and we keep spending ARB, then our price is going to go down with time, and we'll be left with something that is inevitably going down. So the idea was, let's diversify the funds. Let's start by buying some RWAs, which are pretty safe and generate safe yield. Especially at that time, it was like the safe thing to do. And also, by doing that, we could initiate RWA adoption on Arbitrum. And that worked. Long story short, to this day, the DAO holds around, I may be wrong with the exact numbers, but around $90 million worth of RWAs across different projects. We've seen companies like Securitize, which is a company backed by BlackRock, or Franklin Templeton, and all those big American funds apply to the DAO, writing posts with applications to the DAO so that we buy their product in this program. And today, the DAO has $90 million worth of reserves in American T-bills, mostly. Another source of revenue for the DAO is obviously sequencer revenue. I don't remember the exact number right now, but the DAO has significant holdings of sequencer revenue because, as I mentioned, the DAO controls everything, including treasury and including sequencer revenue. So it's up to the DAO to decide what to do with that. Right now, what we are doing, we are actively investing those funds across several different initiatives, including staking. At some point, it is discussed for the DAO to distribute this income from different revenue streams to the token holders. However, this is a long time in the future. I don't expect it anytime soon. So this was the first two quite controversial initiatives. Then comes the third, the biggest controversy in Arbitrum so far, which was called Gaming Catalyst Program, right now called Arbitrum Gaming Ventures. And the idea was like there were two people in the DAO that came to some delegates asking to fund the gaming incentive program, gaming support program, with 200 million ARB. At that moment, when they came to the DAO, this 200 million ARB was worth $400 million. So they came to us and asked, hey, how about we launch a grant program with barely $400 million? We will manage it. So at first we thought this is crazy, but they were stubborn enough to convince us that this is actually a good idea. And while some people thought, hey, how about we cut like maybe 2 or 3 zeros from this number, the amount, the size of the amount invested actually was probably the most important thing, because like this made moves. Like when we announced that we are doing $200 or $400 million gaming fund in Arbitrum, this actually gained traction. It attracted a lot of attention, and right now this program is operating. Of course, the value of this ARP went significantly down, so right now it's probably more like 50 million gaming fund, but still, it's a fund that is owned by the DAO that invests in games. So if you are doing games, if you're a publisher or a gaming studio, you can reach out to Arbitrum Gaming Ventures. I think that the address is arbitrumgaming.com. And you can seek funding, investments actually, although there are some grants as well, for your project. Another controversial idea that the DAO funded in its history was the STIP program, which stands for something incentive program. We wanted to basically distribute incentives to DeFi protocols, as Arbitrum was known for DeFi. We figured, okay, how about we incentivize usage of those protocols with the DAO treasury? And we've spent on this program something around more than 100 million ARP tokens. So it was a huge program in the beginning. Huge and not that much successful. Even though it had 3 different versions, like 3 different seasons of this program, I would say that because it wasn't well structured, the actual success of this program is at least questionable. Some say that, hey, we don't know how would the market look like if we didn't have this program. But on the other hand, like quantifiable metrics were not great, to say the least. However, this allowed us to learn and take some lessons from this experiment. And now we have another incentive program that is running right now called the DRIP, which stands for DeFi Renaissance Incentive Program. Arbitrum calls current year a DeFi Renaissance for Arbitrum. So if you go to arbitrumdrip.com, you can see where you can invest your money in. Like right now, the program is about looping strategies. And if you loop on Arbitrum, you can get additional incentives from the treasury, from this program itself. I was supposed to tell you about opportunities. So these are the opportunities that are available. There are also some open-ended opportunities. Most important is are grants. So if you are a builder and you are looking for a grant, there are some opportunities for you in Arbitrum. Although I have to be honest, it's not easy to get this grant. It's not like that you can come up with an idea and you will get funded. Sometimes that's the case, but not always. So we have right now at least 3 or 4 different opportunities for you, how you can get involved in the DAO and build on Arbitrum. The first one is called DAO Grants Program. And maybe I can show another web page. It's called, like if you go to Arbitrum, I hope that I'm writing. No. Arbitrum.questbook.app. You will see the Arbitrum DAO Grants Program. It has 5 different categories that are open. Arbitrum New Protocols and Ideas, Arbitrum Education, Community Growth and Events, Arbitrum Gaming, Developer Tooling on Arbitrum 1 and Stylus 3.0, and Arbitrum Orbit Domain. What you should do if you're interested in applying into any of these grants, you should go to the program details and see, first of all, what are they funding, and then who is funding. Because each of those domains, we call them domains, each of those domains is managed by a single person or entity, which reviews all the proposals. And they are the ones who decide whether you will get a grant or not. The maximum amount that you can get from this program is $25,000 with an easy track and $50,000 with a more complicated track. Why more complicated? Because for $25,000, you need approval just from the domain allocator, the single person or entity that is responsible for their own domain. For $50,000, two different domain allocators need to approve you. So the domain allocator that they're applying to, and they need to find another domain allocator that would say, yes, like I approve to fund the bigger amount. And this is pretty straightforward. Like this is probably one of the easiest ways to get funding for your idea. You really have to convince just this person or like entity that is responsible for funding. And you can reach out to them, you can talk to them. If they don't like your idea, they will tell you. If they don't like a specific aspect of your idea and they would need you to just modify it, they will tell you that as well. So you can negotiate with them. And I would highly recommend you, if you are interested in like taking this path, to really get in touch with whoever is responsible for the domain and see what are they looking for and if your idea actually fits what they're looking for. The domain that is currently has the most available funds is New Protocols and Ideas. And the reason why it has the most funds is that it funded the least projects so far. The reason being that they are keeping quite a high bar in terms of what they want to fund. They are rejecting a lot of applications. But again, if you really have a good idea, if you go to them and talk to them, like I know these guys, so I know that they are reasonable people. So they will discuss with you what they like and what they don't like in your idea. Another domain is education, community growth, and events. And this is actually the domain that if Warsaw got funded from. So the grant from Arbitrum to if Warsaw came from this program itself. So if Warsaw applied for this community growth and events domain, and they were approved, and therefore we could enjoy if Warsaw partially thanks to Arbitrum. For the other domains, if you were interested in details, you can reach out to me afterwards. I will tell you more or less like what I know about them. They are kind of self-explanatory. Apart from Arbitrum Orbit domain, Arbitrum Orbit, if you don't know it, it's the Arbitrum stack for building rollups. So there is Arbitrum 1, but you can also build your own rollup on top of Arbitrum technology, and it's called Arbitrum Orbit. There are nuances, like you probably would have to share, like if you are settling to Ethereum mainnet, you will have to share part of your revenue and sign an agreement with Arbitrum Foundation. If you are settling to Arbitrum 1, so you are building an L3, then you can do it without asking anybody. It's permissionless. You just have to launch it. And this domain is meant to support projects that are looking to do this. It is a bit like it recently got revamped to an idea of Arbitrum cities. If you are interested, just catch me after the presentation. I will tell you what it is about. It's not that straightforward. However, it's about bridging Web 2 businesses into Arbitrum. So these are probably the easiest ways for you to get funded if you want to have some initial funding to bootstrap your own idea. There are other opportunities as well. Like second one that is pretty open-ended, but is not as straightforward and not as easy to get, is Arbitrum Foundation grants. They are not even announcing those grants anywhere because they don't want too many applicants that will get rejected instantly. But these grants are available, and there are projects that are receiving those grants. What you need to do, however, is you need to contact someone from Arbitrum Foundation. Like, the barrier is a bit higher here. You need to find someone from Arbitrum Foundation that would like your project and convince them that they should fund you. And they will contact you with whoever is needed for approval of this grant. It is also possible, it's like if they like your idea, if your idea is at least a bit mature already, then I've heard that it's also not that hard to get. And once you get it, it's very straightforward how to unlock it. But it's not as straightforward as here. Here you can just apply, you know exactly who to contact, and this is pretty easy. Arbitrum Foundation grants are much less straightforward. There is a third opportunity. If you are already a mature builder that has a product, and you are looking to launch, but you don't have funds to cover audit review, security audit, then there is a special, another type of grant program meant for security audits. You apply there, you describe your solution, you describe your needs, they matchmake you with the proper auditors. Sometimes you might need to cover part of the cost, but you can be subsidized for the other part of it. Of course, it comes with some strings attached. You need to deploy on Arbitrum. Ideally, you should be building on Arbitrum exclusively. If you're interested, again, find me and I will guide you where to learn about it. And the last opportunity that I want to mention is the DAO itself. Because the DAO, it's a decentralized autonomous organization, and I used to say that it is decentralized, it is autonomous, but when it comes to organizations, it's rather oi. But we are changing this right now. Like, the DAO is changing it right now. Recently, we established a second foundation. Whoever, if we have any Asimov fans here, you know that there always needs to be a second foundation to correct the course of the first foundation. So we have a second foundation in the DAO, which is called Arbitrum DAO OpCo, from operational company, which is like the goal of this organization is to allow for the DAO to execute things more efficiently, and especially to reward and incentivize contributors to the DAO. In the past, we had something which is called Delegate Incentive Program. I think it's still running, but it's ending right now. And it was supposed to incentivize delegates, such as myself, to like add something of value to the DAO. Launch initiatives like push forward events, for example, stuff like that. This program is being revamped right now, and it will be open not just for delegates. Actually, it will be open for contributors. It will take some time for it to be launched, but I think that in 2 months from now, we should already have it. And then you would be able to get paid for simply adding something of value to the DAO, like initiating some working groups, leading those working groups, proposing some initiatives. It's quite likely that there will be a separate fund for structuring new initiatives in the DAO. So I can't tell you right now what exactly will it be, because it hasn't been voted yet, but it's coming, and some form of it will launch definitely soon. To wrap it up, if you are coming to Buenos Aires for DevConnect, there will be a lot of events from Arbitrum. I don't know the details yet because they are being ironed out right now as we speak, but there will be a lot of events for Arbitrum in Buenos Aires, and you will be able to talk directly to the people who are managing all of these things that I just mentioned. You will be able to talk directly to the delegates and to the OpCo people and to the foundation people. And if you're interested in getting engaged in Arbitrum or building on Arbitrum, probably this is the easiest way to find your way around all this mess that the DAO and the foundation and Off-Chain Labs and all the community is. If you need help with that, feel free to reach out to me. I am rather active delegate in the DAO, and if I will be able to help you, I will gladly do that. If I won't be able to help you, I will just tell you that sorry, I can't do much. But sometimes I was able to push things forward. So that's it for my, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now, if you have any questions, I don't know if we have time for questions.
A few questions.
Yeah, we have time for a few questions.
Thank you. How can we reach out to you?
Find me here, or like this is my. Can I write something here? Like, can we open a text editor or something?
Just the Telegram QR code.
Yeah. So. KRST in Polish, it's my handle. Both
Telegram,
on Twitter, Telegram, and if you write my name Krzysztof Urbanski, Arbitrum, you will find me. However or L2Bit. So just tell me that you met me at this event. It will make things easier. I'm pretty easily reachable, so feel free to ping me or contact me anyway.
Okay. The question is, suppose we have a mature project, the RWA, already running on other chains like Polygon, and now we're expanding to Arbitrum. Obtaining the grant is not the ultimate point. Technically, it is working, just requires deployment. The question is how to obtain the bootstrap capital. Does Arbitrum DAO have partners, whoever, who can provide the bootstrap capital, just like Binance have recently done it for the BNB smart chain?
So reach out to me. I will put you in touch with people who would be able to help you maybe. However, I will be very honest with you. Historically, bootstrap capital was not the easiest thing to obtain in Arbitrum. As people who are in charge of those RWA investments, they rather tend to invest in established, well-known names. There are a lot of projects that were applying for bootstrap capital, and they weren't very successful, let me put it like that. However, I would encourage you to try to. So ping me, and I will get you in touch with people who might be able to help you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, gentleman in the front.
So I think in the beginning you mentioned something about security, and it's your job to, I guess, do security audits on different systems. And I was wondering, I think parts of the AWS infrastructure went down the other day, and we, like most people, think that decentralized applications are decentralized, but many of them, I think even many chains, didn't work properly. What are your thoughts on what happened?
To clarify, we do not do security audits. You're asking, if I understood correctly, you asked about what I was talking about L2Bit itself, that we are assessing security guarantees. It's a bit different thing, although I know that it can be confusing. What we assess is, for the L2 to be a proper L2, to actually inherit it and extend Ethereum security, it needs to implement certain mechanisms to allow you to feel safe on this chain. I won't get deeper, but I can get to it after that. So what we do is we check whether those projects actually implemented those mechanisms that they claim that they did. As you can imagine, more often than not, they are not implemented, or at least some parts of them are not implemented. So what you can see on our website is what exactly is implemented and what isn't, and what you should be careful about if you are deploying your funds on a different chain. Getting to your question about AWS, this AWS malfunction exposed a lot of dependencies on AWS infrastructure across the internet. Crypto wasn't safe from that. However, to my knowledge, I can say that Ethereum worked as it was supposed to work. Some chains experienced issues, although to my knowledge, those issues were mostly about the interfaces that were hosted on AWS. And yes, like there are a lot of interfaces that are hosted as a Web2 applications. So in case, like they are hosted in the cloud, so in case AWS or any other cloud provider faces issues, those interfaces could stop working. However, the chain itself, usually, I don't want to give a strict guarantee, but in most cases, the chain itself is decentralized and is working. And if it's a proper L2 on top of Ethereum, it should implement all the mechanisms that allow you to withdraw your funds and exit this chain, this L2, even if the L2 itself is not working. To give you an example, DYDX, which was a pretty popular PEPDEX, pretty popular like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and 4 years ago, they were operating as an Ethereum rollup, proper rollup with many, like all the security guarantees implemented. And they stopped their operations on Ethereum last year because they moved to Cosmos for reasons. So they turned off all their infrastructure, all their Ethereum infrastructure a year ago in November. When they did it, there was still like $40 million locked in their bridge on Ethereum. However, because they were a proper rollup that was implemented correctly, even though they stopped serving the Ethereum customers, the Ethereum itself was keeping them safe. And those users, up to this day, are still able to withdraw those funds. And half of this amount was already withdrawn since then. And it wasn't just random money. I know that because we were working with DYDX, full disclaimer. And I know some of the stories, like what money was locked there. So it wasn't just like random retail money. There were funds, there were institutions that had those funds locked. There are reasons why sometimes you cannot move your funds, even though you would love to. For example, the use case that I usually give when pitching why what we do at L2Bit is important is you can put your funds on some chain, and then you can enter a legal dispute, which would enable you to move those funds until this dispute is settled. And as I say, all those L2s are startups. And universal law of startups says that in 5 to 10 years, 90% of those startups will cease to exist. So knowing how long sometimes it takes for the legal dispute to settle, especially in Poland, you can find yourself keeping money on a chain that ceases to exist while you still are fighting in court. So in that case, it's better to have your funds on an L2 that implemented those security guarantees. So once your dispute settles, you would be able to withdraw them to Ethereum. Although, full disclosure, do your own research, like actually check the chain on L2Bit and check what exactly do you need to look after if you are keeping these funds on L2. I hope that this answered your question. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Gentleman there in white shirt.
Yeah, let's make it on our last question.
Yeah.
To the next presentation.
Thank you so much. I just briefly checked. TVL on Arbitrum seems to be at 18B, and FDV of ARB seems to be at 3B. You said the DAO be able to do any upgrades,
Yes.
but L2Bit says it's only a 0-day delay situation for the Security Council. Can I buy 4B worth of ARB and steal 18B? Or is the Security Council the backstop there?
It's nuanced, I would say. So first of all, there is a Security Council in Arbitrum, and if you try to just steal the money from the bridge, I'm pretty sure that Security Council would kill such an operation. This is what the Security Council is for. On top of that, first of all, you wouldn't be able to obtain as much ARB to do this currently. Also, I believe that if you try to do something like that, there would be a community coordinated effort to stop you. For example, yesterday we had a situation that is kind of like in this area. We have right now Security Council elections for Arbitrum, and there was a drama because one organization, like long story short, somebody tried to buy themselves a seat at Security Council. For like, I trust that these are like white hat. This is a white hat organization just want to expose the risks. However, like they didn't like, and they did buy around 16 or 14 million worth of ARP voting power to vote for themselves for the Security Council elections. For some time, they were third in this classification, but it took like 3 hours to get them out, like through community effort. So I would say that there are different mechanisms right now that would prevent you from stealing the funds from the bridge. However, I also want to mention that this is a attack vector. It is a governance attack vector. There are other situations that could be much more problematic because like stealing funds is pretty obviously wrong. However, there are many things how you can utilize those funds that is not outright stealing, but is controversial. Compound had this issue some time ago with a user called Humpty that wanted to engage the funds from the treasury, if I remember correctly, or protocol in some weird way. I could also imagine someone trying to obtain enough voting power in the DAO, for example, to use the funds in the bridge in their protocol. And this wouldn't be as a straightforward situation as just stealing funds. So I'm not sure if Security Council, for example, would step in that case. I would actually expect them to not to, unless this is really a outright malicious action. Otherwise, this is like what the governance is supposed to be used to. Like it is a governance for a reason. One of the reasons how to use governance is to buy yourself enough voting power that you can actually steer the protocol somewhere. So yeah, like this is an open question, and it's a bit more nuanced. Thank you very much. This was the last question. I will stay here until the end. So if you have any other questions, you can catch me later. Thank you very much, and see you.
All right. Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm blockchain engineer and SUI blockchain ambassador in Poland. Also, I won 2 hackathons is Warsaw. First one, it was is Warsaw Spring Hack, and second one, main hackathon, which was 1 month ago. And first, our project was Web3 AI agent, which allows founders to deploy any cross-chain tokens, vesting, stakings, websites, just sending a simple message to AI agent. And it is second one, it was platform for projects and for users, which allows to create quests with rewards. So users were able to complete simple tasks and get rewards for it. And after completing these hackathons, we decided to create our small team, Raccoon Labs, and now we are building a lot of cool products for our clients. And during last hackathon, we used Stylus. And why? First cause was because it's new technology, it's interesting to try it, and it allows to code smart contracts in Rust. It's really cool stuff. For sure, it's possible also to code in C and C++, but Rust CDK is the most advanced. Also, we used this one technology because our target users for our platform was new Web3 users in Web3 space. So low cost transactions, it's really important for them. And does it mean that Stylus fully replaced Solidity? It's actually not, because Solidity and Stylus works together perfectly, even if transaction call in Solidity function and this function is executed on EVM, then this function calls Stylus. Execution is moving from EVM to WASM, and then executing for this function is cheaper and more optimized. So it's possible to move parts of your logic to services written in Stylus, and it's allow you to code fast with solidity and use all optimizations of Stylus for your app. It's what we did during hackathon, and for now we are actively contribute into Stylus, implementing new features like CI, opportunity to set up CI during creating new projects, or adding structures like in Solidity, so it allows to store a batch of data. And also we are fixing some bugs we detected during working with Stylus. Our goal to become top 10 contributors for Stylus. And now we are working for a project for liquidity aggregator for Uniswap pools. It allows user to deposit stable coins like USDT, USDC, and choose strategy. For example, investing in pools with highest APR, TVL, or maybe daily volume. And our app automatically rebalance these funds between pools. And for sure, user can later withdraw his funds with earnings. And now the problem, when we did the same project for our client about 1 year ago, we faced it with issue that it was important to make everything on-chain, even pool aggregations, but it was about thousands pools for aggregation, and it was not possible to aggregate during via two EVM limits and gas per transactions. For sure, it was possible during hashing and cryptography, but it would take a lot of time. So then we moved aggregation to off-chain, but it was some centralizations issue, and our users would enforce to review call data all time to be sure that they are secure. And now we are building the same app, but using Stylus for aggregation pools. It allows to aggregate more than 1,000 pools in one transaction without any problems. And it allows us to move some logic to WASP directly with calculation, and also some interface for user. And it allows us to move all up on chain without any off-chain and backend integrations. And it's what we're doing right now. So it's our small team. Yeah, we have devs, we have business operations, UI UX design, and you can scan my LinkedIn or website if you have any questions in future or just for contact. It is maybe now time for any questions about hackathon, Stylus, working with it, on maybe any issues we discovered during working with Stylus.
Why did you want to bring Rust in EVM contracts, and what was the idea behind it?
You mean using Rust for contracts?
Yeah.
Instead of Solidity, yeah?
Yeah.
It's because Rust can be compiled to WebAssembly, and then this WebAssembly is executed not on EVM, but on WASP. It's also is executed on chain in blockchain 3, but it's about 100x cheaper and more optimized. So even working with data, reading, loading is more optimized because WASP also has inbuilt cache. So Yes, Solidity is not so easy to compile into WebAssembly, and Rust is more advanced language for it, so it has a lot of inbuilt features, so it's more secure.
Okay, thanks.
Any more questions? Yeah, maybe. So, question.
Here's the mic.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Hi. How you are organizing these pools? As I understand, for example, investors will add their money to this pool, and based on the strategy, it will invest in some, instruments or currencies. Yeah, and it will be necessary to pay some fee for transaction. And how it's organized? I mean, is these funds from this pool invested directly to the coin, and this is one transaction, and it's paid, and this fee is split it for all, let's say, users or traders, customers, yeah, or it will be invested once, I mean, like one transaction per user.
Yeah, it's one transaction per user for deposit funds into his own vault, and then we are doing sometimes rebalancing, and this rebalancing is doing in one transaction for all users. Because at the end of the day, it's one position for all users, so it works in this optimized way. User need for real two transactions. First one for deposit and second one for withdrawal. And for rebalancing, it's a cheap fee, but we are covering it via deposit and withdrawal fee. It's directly transferred to Treasury, and Treasury is used for trigger rebalance. And this rebalance function is without any access control, because it just trigger aggregation on chain, and everybody can trigger it. But yeah, it's every day triggered by Treasury.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, there's another question. That's great.
Very, very interesting and important topic. Yeah, the question is, correct me if I'm wrong, users provide liquidity into Uniswap pools, for instance, yeah? What's about impermanent loss? How do you solve this problem?
You mean lost because tokens price?
Yeah.
This risk is not handled because it's a regular risk during depositing into Uniswap pools. But as I said before, a user can choose his strategy. There is also strategy with tokens which had the most less price change, for example, for the last month. So user decide in which pool in which category of pool he would like to deposit, but manipulating with token price, it's a regular feature for Uniswap pools and for all liquidity pools.
Are you familiar with the yield basis protocol?
Yeah.
Yeah. They said that they solved this problem in permanent loss.
Possible, but we don't use it in our implementation right now. But we'll check it later.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, kind of the same traction there. So you decide the range and the rebalancing points for your clients, or the strategy of the aggregates of the pools?
Yeah, we deciding for range. We calculating ticks, and usually it's actual price and a few percents to up and down, and it's also monitoring from our backend. And if we'll see that positions is out of range, we just can trigger rebalance one more time and push position into this range.
And it's related to the historic ticks, the range.
Yeah, range about ticks. So we re-enter in position.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you know the range? You do a historic simulation, or how do you?
No, we just calculating it.
So it works the same way like revert finance works, yeah? It works the same way like revert finance works, correctly, yeah? Where I can set up the range and I can set up also like a correction of the range.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
And when we see we are out of this range. We just trying to reset it one more time.
All right, cool. Then let's set up the third talk. Who's the speaker? Do you have a presentation or something? No, that's fine. Then take the mic and I'd say the stage is yours.
Yeah, so hey everyone, I'm Oleksandr, Web3 developer. So last hackathon, I built a project on Arbitrum. It was a loyalty program for coffee, like Green Coffee Nero. If you go there, you can buy coffee and get stamp. So decided to do this one day, and my friend said, okay, it can be. So when conference started, it was wondering because there was a lot of different side events. And on Friday, my friends decided we need to drink a little bit of beer. And Saturday, when we needed to start to do something, they write me and said, okay, we are drunk, we can help you anything. So it was terrible. And that day, I decided, okay, somehow I needed to realize how to do it and implement basic implementation. So I started from firstly creating like client part from scratch. But when I opened bounty list, I saw that they have scaffold Ethereum bounty, and they have already predefined packages for client part, for the smart contracts, and backend, if I don't mistake. Probably, yeah. So, and after that, I decided, okay, maybe I can use it. And it was a little bit weird decision, because somehow with their packages, I got for the same wallet generated for the same private key, I got two different addresses at the same time. Somehow I fixed it. I don't know how, but it was wondering with it. So, okay, somehow client was ready. Backend also, backend was used only for generation OTP code, like 6-digit code that you can provide it on client, and that's all. So after that, we created a Web3 app, so we need to have some smart contracts. Have I ever made some smart contracts? Yes, on Solidity, and it was only like Hello World, whatever, I don't remember, coin flip, and probably something simple. And at that time I said, okay, I need to choose what chain it must be. We have Base, we have Arbitrum, and if I don't mistake, Circuit. So Base, they wanted to make their app on Base app, so my idea wasn't suitable to that. Circuit, I haven't known that they have some account abstraction or something like that, so I choose Arbitrum. And also, for my app, used Civic authentication. They have account abstraction, which is really helpful, but they don't have like settings. You cannot, I don't say, provide parameters to your contract, like you cannot set who will be payable for each transaction. And I need to do it by myself. It was a little bit hard, I would say, because Web3 dev not always have tokens on Ethereum mainnet, and Faucet needed it. And I asked my friend, hey, you can send me something? He sent me like 5 USDC on Arbitrum, and somehow I found how on Cipole, and somehow I found how they can be swapped in some DEX on DevNet. It was really weird. So this only amount of what I have was like 0.0001 Ethereum on Arbitrum. So right after that, I decided, okay, so I need to write some smart contracts, write it on Solidity. And after I reading against one more time bounty list, I found that they have Stylus. It's on Rust. I don't know Rust. I have never ever write even one line of Rust. I open some examples, I see that terrible codes, terrible syntax, and thought, wonderful. So right after that, I think, okay, Arbitrum is EVM compatible, so they support if Solidity, must be. And right, I don't remember the person who was presenting Arbitrum on hackathon, writing to him and say, hey, I don't know Rust. Can I write something on Solidity and it can be? And he said, yes, it can be. So yeah, that's how I do it on Solidity when everyone do it on Rust. So yeah. And it was two, I would say even three challenges for me to building this app. My friends drunk, they don't help me. I don't have any support from my teammates. Somehow needed to find tokens which must exist on Faucet, but I don't have access to Faucet because I don't have Ethereum on mainnet. And the third part, it was like Rust, and I don't know Rust. So if everybody want to build something on Arbitrum, be ready that you needed to somehow find tokens for Ethereum mainnet to get tokens on Sepolia. Or if I don't mistake, they also support, some Faucet supports WorldCoin authentication. So if you have WorldCoin app, so you can connect it and get some tokens. But I also haven't. And also be ready that you need to write something on Rust. And that's all.
The biggest question is, was it fun for you, this hackathon?
Really hard, really
Like,
fun.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's the most important part of joining a hackathon. If it's fun, it's already a win. Did you win something?
On Saturday evening, you can see my funny smile.
Exactly. Did you win something?
No.
That's okay.
I win
Next
time for sleep.
Okay, next time, it will be more fun and hopefully more successful. Any questions to this wonderful story of a hacker from a hackathon? No, I see you guys want to go to get the pizza, and that's also a nice thing. If you want to know more and talk to Oleksandr, then feel free to do it whenever. And I'd like to thank you for participation in this Arbitrum meetup. We'll have more meetups soon, and just have fun. Thank you.